What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some of Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Twitch.tv/games
after dark.
Yes, or later on your favorite podcast service. B. Dave Walters and Erin M. Evans talk about all the Idle Champions lore that's fun to know about. If you're with us live in the chat, you can leave a question that I, Treavor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But until then, Erin, B. Dave, take it away.
Hi, I'm Erin M. Evans. I'm the author of the Brimstone Angels Saga, 6-book series set in the Forgotten Realms, featuring 3 of your favorite Idle Champions, Farida, Havilar, and Mehen. I am a content designer for Idle Champions, and I play Cecilia on Dungeon Scrawlers.
B. Dave Walters, I say words about things, non-ironically, TV's B. Dave Walters. And tomorrow, running D&D for the cast of Stranger Things on Netflix. It's finally here. It's finally happening. I can finally talk about it. And normally, I'm just drinking my protein shakes just because I feel like it. But today, there's a hint on what it is that we're talking about. in the wildlife shows.
It's very fair, very fair. Yeah, we are going to be talking about Druids today because a new champion is coming to the game immediately after this episode. Merilwen from Oxventure is going to be joining the game with the Dragondown event. And so we thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit about Druids because I don't think we've had a Druid join the game since Penelope. So some fun times to talk about it.
Wait, Tatiana's in the game, isn't she? Tatiana.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
She's a Druid.
That's right.
Well, she's a barbarian druid, but Penelope is pure druid. In every way I can mean that. Yeah.
She's so pure. I don't think I'm ever going to take her out of the Modron costume ever again because it's so perfect as is. Also Yorvin, that's fair. Yorvin was a druid. Yeah, so we had opportunities that we passed up.
We've been slacking.
Yeah. Us. Dang it. So Druids. Where do y'all want to start with Druids?
So as I'm intermittently still taking vitamins and communing with nature here. So Druids are the nature warriors. Back in the day, it was kind of like the big 3 classes were wizard, cleric, druid. In D&D itself, in 3.5, at one point, druids were by a wide margin the strongest. Like their animal companion, the bears. If you could have a bear that was stronger than a single class fighter, and the joke was, I'm a bear riding a bear that shoots bears, because they could summon woodland creatures. So that was the thing they could do. Normally, but not always, well, they're defined by their connection to nature. Second to that, usually most of them have the ability to wild shape, which is to turn into an animal of some sort. Some are better at it than others. Some don't actually turn into animals. They turn in like fire spirity things. But that's the high level thing. It's like if clerics get their powers from gods, wizards get their powers from knowledge, druids get their powers from nature. In jazz hands.
And so druids, there's kind of a pattern in a lot of D&D classes of the subclasses being similarly named, and for this, most of them are circles. Actually, I think looking at them, all of them are circles, and that comes from some old-timey ways of doing things, but I like that there is circle of dreams, circle of spores, circle of stars.
The idea with this circle is that like this is your sort of local druid club that you join.
Local 305 of druids.
Yeah. You go hang out and talk about spores in the forest. That's not quite it. But.
Saying Egon Spengler was a druid.
I'm not saying he wasn't.
We're not saying that. Yeah,
you heard it here first. Egon Spengler, Circle of the Spores.
But think about it. No. Let that one tumble around in your head for a minute, and I want you to hate how true it is.
Moonbeam is a proton pack.
So I want you to circle it around in your head and hate how accurate it is. Especially, like, you very easily could have a character that their whole thing was they were anti-ghosts and undead because they violate the natural order. There was a circle of the Spores druid and became a Ghostbuster.
I love it.
There you go.
Because I think a lot of times we go like druids that's sort of hippy dippy and like, flowers and stuff. But if you are drawing your power from like the natural order of things, why couldn't you have a scientist druid?
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It's true.
Why
Think
indeed?
about, Egon Spengler turns into a bear.
Oh no, Harold Ramis bear. You know what's bad? There's got to be an episode of the Real Ghostbusters where this happened. They did weird stuff on that cartoon.
That explains that freaking gorilla. There you go. We just answered that timeless question for you. One of them must have been an artificer to have that talking car. Yeah, sorry. It's completely beyond the scope of this, but if you have a free minute, kids, Google the legal battle that went into the Ghostbusters and the Real Ghostbusters.
Oh, it's
it was
so good.
Quintessentially 80s. Just mwah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So besides the circle being your club of friends you go hang out in the forest at, what does a circle do for you as a druid?
Well, it would take a step back from that.
Okay.
Like so many things in D&D, this was based on a real world and real life. In the Celtic Druids, the original Druids, most of their history is destroyed. So a lot of the things we think we know is kind of hearsay. They would meet in groves, and they would meet literally in Druid circles. And get together and do their thing. So that's kind of the broad inspiration for this.
Okay.
Just had to establish where we're coming from.
I will never argue with history coming up in one of my shows. So, but what does it do mechanically in D&D?
So, mechanically, wait, hang on. I got my quote. We're ready for my quote?
Oh, I'm here.
It's true. Ready for my quote? Some dismiss them with a sneer as flower lovers. Hey, Aaron. But I warn such scoffers that a few herbs or plant medicines would aid us today were it not for the... I warn such scoffers that few herbs or plant medicines would aid us today were it not for the lore and work of the druid circles of Faerun. That's from Beldrith Tarlintar, Sage of the Old Ways. That's a dope name.
That was an interesting name.
Yeah. I will say, just also as we're kind of coming at this at all sides all at once, it's like a pizza buffet at a kindergarten. They're like,
That's a very evocative metaphor, and I love it.
And yet not inaccurate. Put that up there with Egon, the Circle of Spores Druid. Search your feelings, you know it to be true. This line is a hazy one, but so clerics get their powers from gods, and clerics can fight, but paladins are the holy warriors. Mm-hmm. Druids get their power from nature, and druids absolutely can fight, but rangers are the nature warriors. That's kind of the division between those two things, Again,
I've never thought about them like that before. That's, yeah.
You poke at it, it collapses pretty quickly, but ostensibly.
I think it stands enough that it's like, yeah, that does track.
Yeah, that was the logic. Your mileage may vary now. So what your circle does, in the physical game of D&D, everybody has the things that everybody gets, and then you have your subclasses. I'm very much jumping ahead because I'm that person. Straight into the obscene optimization you can do with a druid.
Optimization? What? This doesn't make any sense.
I'm trying to broaden my horizons, diversify the brand. You know how it is. I'm going to tell you how to make a character that is literally unkillable.
Let's do it. I'm here for this.
So the character that I won D&D with that was a cautionary tale was a druid in 3.5. Not going to tell you how to do that. I'm just going to say I actually beat this game, and it was actually sadly unfulfilling. I'm just going to tell you about a character that can't die. It is a Barbarian 2 bear totem barbarian in the rest Circle of the Moon druid. And the reason why that is when you is it 3? think you have to get 3 as a barbarian. It's 3. When you rage as a barbarian, you take half damage. If you are a bear totem barbarian, you take half damage against everything except psychic damage. That applies when you wild shape. So wild shaping is when a druid turns into a different creature. A Circle of the Moon druid can wild shape as a bonus action, and you can turn into more creatures and stronger creatures and faster. And when you turn into a creature and you die as that creature, you turn back into a druid and then turn into another creature. So you literally have to get killed. I once got one character got dropped to 0 7 times. Because of all the tricks up my sleeve that I had to stay in the fight.
That's wild.
Yeah. So you change into your monster, you rage, you take half damage the whole time. When you get knocked to 0, you just turn into another creature, including the creature you just turned into. If you want to, do the whole thing all over again while you wear the bad guys down. It will bring joy to your heart.
Lord.
And heartburn to your DM.
Yeah, I was about to say, I apologize to all DMs who know that their players are watching this right now.
I don't. Yeah.
Because I want them to know I did it.
I want them to know. Tell them it was me.
Oh, boy. Okay, so then going back to the original question, which was, what do circles do mechanically for players?
I appreciate that you just okay boomered me with that.
What? I did not okay boomer you with that. If you had been talking about the optimal build for 2nd edition, yeah, I would have okayed boomered that old man Walters.
Joke's on you. There were no optimal builds in 2nd edition. You just survived. Like, I hope you make it. Yeah.
That's fair.
So your circle choice gives you a bunch of features, and I think it gives you spell. Some of them anyway give you spell lists.
Yeah, I think
they all do.
Yeah,
they all do. Okay, really? Circle of Dreams, I don't see a spell list.
It's extra spells. You know what I mean? Like, there's the Druid spell list, but you can pull some other things in.
No, that's what I'm looking at. Like Circle of Dreams doesn't have it, but Circle of Spores has a specific circle spell list.
Oh, yours might be. I'm looking at D&D Beyond. It's got a spell list for Circle of Dreams.
I'm looking on D&D Beyond. Where is it?
Well, they're liars to you. Then that's literally the top
Druid
one.
spells, but then the Circle of Dreams says Circle of Dreams features, and then it's got a bunch of features for each level, but I don't see the extra spells.
Oh, I thought those were spells.
Right, it looks the same.
It does look the same. I lied to you.
There's
I'm the worst.
Pretty cool features. So maybe the features are so cool they're like no extra spells for you. But Circle of Spores have some spells.
For Circle of Dreams at level 14, there's a bunch of things you can do at will and stuff like that. That's why.
Yeah.
And you can use your spells in different ways. Mm-hmm. So to your point was true. That they don't necessarily have extra spells, but they get to do extra chicanery with their spells.
Yes.
That's also one of the newest one, I think. That might be the newest Circle.
Circle of Dreams is?
I think so. Don't quote me on that. I feel like
I'm
it's
obviously
one of the
just looking at it alphabetically, so I'm like, well, it's the first one, so.
Yeah. No, I feel like it was one of the older ones, but I could be wrong.
Well, you know what? It's we're talking about all things Druid, so
that's it.
I think that's fine to start.
We said we'd talk about Druids, not timelines.
Is there a Circle of Time?
Yeah, no. The Circle of Dreams is from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So,
oh wow, been around for a bit.
It's been around now, but it's not from the beginning.
Based.
Yeah, it's fair. So the circles give you different features and whatnot, but it does look like most of them give you spells.
Flavors too.
It's what's your druidic focus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like choosing, like if you're a warlock, like choosing what your pact is with, right? Like you're a druid that is tied to the Feywild. You're a druid that is tied to death and decay and fungus.
I would submit though the druid circles and how they actually affect your character and the way you play is more profound than a warlock pact.
Interesting.
I mean,
I feel like I'm going to argue about Warlock packs on every angle with you, but that's okay.
well, no, I've definitely.
But to be fair, I've never played a druid, so.
Well, I've played more druids than I've played warlocks. Technically, Freely was a warlock because technically Freely wasn't everything.
Wait, is it what wasn't Freely?
Yes, it's what wasn't he? Wait, wasn't a druid. I feel like as a warlock, you're like, okay, I made this pact and this is where my powers come from. But then you just do your thing. I mean, like the Eldritch Invocations are available to almost everybody.
That's
the spells
fair.
are available to almost you know what I mean? You're kind of like, my car's running on different gas, but when I hit the pedal, it go vroom. You know, whereas druids, you're like, well, this is my car, this is my motorcycle, this is my pickup truck, this is my dump truck, based on your circle.
Yeah.
That's all.
One of the things that you were talking about earlier, B-Dave, was the wild shaping. Do all of them have a wild shape? Is that just a base level druid? I almost said warlock. We said warlock enough that got in my head.
Okay, so there is a base level wild shape that everybody can do. And honestly, to tell you the truth, those creatures aren't really that impressive. If it's more for utility and exploration than fighting. Like you can turn into just like a spider, like just a spider or a cat or a snake. And if your DM's not a jerk, turning into a cat for things like spying is magnificent, because who suspects a cat that just walks into the room and just kind of plops on the floor while you're plotting the big robbery, you know? Every once in a while, you'll get DMs that are like, what's that cat doing here? And you're like, bro, come on. No, they wouldn't.
They'd be like, oh, kitty!
You really want to conflict your players, show the big bad evil guy playing with a cat.
Exactly. I'd maybe give you a performance roll to be a convincing cat, and even then they'd just be like, "This cat is broken." So
this cat is broken.
that is what most. On a completely unrelated note, all the neighborhood strays. Like I've lived where I live for about 1.5 years now. And for it, they were very wary and wanted nothing to do with any of us. But now they come and hang out in our yard and like walk up to us on the corner and stuff. And like, so like we're slowly being adopted by every cat in the neighborhood. And I'm like, do not have kittens under my bushes because I will take them in and love them forever. Stop it. Stop it. You don't be here. There was a cat that just like chilled in the front yard all day yesterday. And when I was like coming in and out of the house, came towards me, because usually would run away very skittishly. Now it's like, oh, hey, what's up, man? And I'm like, stop it. I don't want this from you. I'm seeing other cats.
I'm seeing other cats.
Yeah. But I digress. That's what I'm saying. So if that's a druid wild shaping to
sure?
get close enough, yeah.
Are you sure your daughter hasn't been experimenting with druidry?
There's
to your house?
There's a non-zero chance my children are summoning cats. They are my children.
There's
a non-zero chance. And who knows what I may or may not have already taught them and did not at all expect for them to apply against me. So, most druids are that. Like they have some combat forms, but they're relatively ineffective. The Circle of the Moon in particular can turn into very strong things because they're like the wild shape specialists. And they wild shape as a bonus action if you know much about 5th edition. It means they just do it fast. They can turn into the thing and start eating you at the same time. Whereas the other druids have to like turn into the thing and come back around to me and I'm going to do you such a sting. And then they do it. You know, so.
Ooh, I'm gonna growl so hard during this turn.
Ooh, my tummy's so fluffy. You just wait and see. It's coming for you in 6 more seconds. Yeah.
So I went to the wild shape feature because I realized I didn't actually know what the restrictions were on it. And so for second level, when you first get it, the restriction is you can change it to anything that's a CR 1/4, and it cannot have a flying or swimming speed. Example, wolf. Yeah, it's a pretty good example.
Yeah.
Then 4th, 1/2, no flying speed. Example, crocodile. I still feel like wolf would work. I guess it's a higher CR, so I guess. And then 8th, you can turn into a max CR of 1.
That is one of the things that has always bothered me about this game. And I understand. I completely understand that the CR system is completely broken. That's a rant for another day. But when you're a person and that thing is a lion, that should always be scary, you know? You're like, it's a CR 1/4 lion. but now I'm level 10. You just get out of here. You just get out of here, you goofy lion boy. And I'm like, that's
silly.
That's still a lion. It doesn't want Tommy Zerberts, but I understand why it is how it is.
Yeah. I don't think. Oh, I for the first time I have a druid in my group, and I might let them wild shape into some weird stuff.
I mean, there's dire lions, Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Erin. Sorry.
I was gonna say they're not allowed to have a flying speed, so you couldn't turn into like a sparrow, even though that's not actually that.
So
eventually you can. It's
after
Okay.
8th level.
Yeah.
After 8th level, you can be a sparrow.
Yes.
Okay.
And the god's eyes will be on it. Yes. Well, it's because early in the game it's game breaking, because a lot of that stuff where you have to get into the keep. You're like, I fly up to the wall and drop.
But
a
you
rope.
could be an Eric Hoker at level 1.
You just shouldn't. Right? Imagine an Aarakocra
They
that
fly
can't-
up to the wall, drop a rope, you're surrounded by guards. Or like, what are you doing with that rope?
That's true. Imagine being an Aarakocra who can't turn into a small bird and having your group be like,
Or as we learned on writing about dragons and shit last night, you could just turn into a crocodile and then climb
That's
up the wall.
true.
Yep.
Crocodilians can climb walls, can climb vertical surfaces.
well,
It's
fences and
bananas.
trees. Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah, Google crocodiles climbing trees. Aaron blessed us with that last night. Yeah, like, this is the end for you. And you're like, well, okay. Well, right. Which now in my
That's the
headcanon-
terrible thing I'm giving to the players to take back to the DM. You turn into a crocodile and climb a wall straight up.
See, now in my head canon, somewhere out there in the infinite sea of time, a crocodile and a bear have climbed the same tree, and then it just went down up there.
Or did they become friends?
I was about to say they both got up there, and they were like, well, this is awkward. 'Cause-
Either it became a great sitcom or became the true duel of the fates.
That's where crocobears came from.
Crocobear,
Crocobears.
the Egyptian gods.
It's the weirdest meet cute ever.
This is some,
That's Sobek's origin story.
okay. This is something I did not know about druids. It was 18th level beast spells. Beginning at 18th level, you can cast many of your druid spells in any shape you assume using wild shape. You can perform the somatic and verbal components of a druid spell while in beast form, but you cannot. But you aren't able to provide material components. That's I just love that idea of just
Fireball. Bah.
yeah.
It's,
A
that
sparrow cast fireball.
Sparrow the cat
This is
fireball.
my new dream.
See, this is where I would get pedantic with my DM, because they're like, oh well, it can't have material components, and Fireball has material components. Okay, well then I turn into a bat.
I mean, again, you gotta
Generate my own.
I generate my own materials.
you gotta first of all, I've never been more proud of you. Let me just say that right now. So
This is my day.
You gotta be pretty pedantic to get down into the material components, unless it's something like super unique, where you're like a diamond the size of a fist or something. You're like, okay, well, that's got some narrative drive. But I agree. I would absolutely turn into a bat that just rained flaming death on everyone if my dungeon master played it that way. Or, you because when you wild shape, all your stuff changes with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you're like, I'm gonna put my component pack over there. I'm a wild shape. I'm gonna pick it up in my mouth, and then I'm gonna do my thing. You know what I mean? Or with my claws, or with my hands, or whatever. Yeah, and be wizard bear.
Wizard bear.
It's said a bear riding a bear that shoots bears. Yeah,
Ta-da.
yeah. That's that was, cause in general as a play style for a druid, most of their spells are concentration spells. So you cast something like call lightning or whatnot, and then you wild shape and you just keep it going. So it's they wanted to give higher level druids basically some options, so you're just not always locked into that cycle. Which, while I realize is fair, I'm like, yeah, but you also get to be a kraken. So are you sure you're mad? You're like, I'm a hydra, but I just wish I could cast another fireball. You're like, I mean, I don't know, dude. You're hydra, but okay, yep. So.
And there's a lot of features I'm realizing I just didn't know about druids, because I've never seen a high level one, I guess.
Yep.
Like level 18, Timeless Body. Starting at 18th level, the primal magic that you wield causes you to age more slowly. For every 10 years that pass, your body ages only 1 year.
That actually goes back to first edition. The druids can ultimately become immortal. You never hear anybody talk about it because it doesn't actually matter. You know what I mean? That you're like, when the story's over, my character is just gonna be like Eowyn here, just being sad when all my friends are dead, you know, as I walk the earth alone. You're like, oh, okay, great, cool, awesome.
Oh, my friends are dead. A druid story.
That's why druids hang out with elves.
It's true. It does give someone, but when you're a druid elf, you can make it thousands of years.
Oh no! Now you have to hang out with dragons. Those guys are terrible.
They're the worst. It used to give you some resistance against aging effects. It still does. There's just less aging effects in the game because as everybody that designed the game started getting older, they were like, "Hey, wait a second, what the hell, race?" You know, because there was a time.
I have to have bad knees in real life. I don't want to do that in my fun.
Exactly. They're like, "That's the worst thing. You're 50 now." Ah! You know. So. That's why that's not so much of a thing anymore.
Okay. And then at 20th level, Archdruid, you can wild shape an unlimited number of times. Additionally, you can ignore the verbal and somatic components of your druid spells, as well as any material component that lacks a cost and aren't consumed by a spell. You gain this benefit in both your normal shape and your beast form. That's ridiculous. I want to play a level 20 druid so bad now.
It's a lot of fun. I'm here to tell you, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So some of the circles that we talked about briefly. So we talked about dreams and spores. There's also stars.
That one's bananas looking.
What does the stars one do? Do we know?
So you harness the power of starlight. And you keep records of constellations and stuff.
You have to wild shape into a pony first.
Well, your wild shape, instead of turning into a beast, you have a starry form. You basically turn into a walking constellation.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you shed bright light and a 10-foot radius and dim light for another 10 feet. And it depends, you choose a form. So if you're an archer, you have on a bonus action, you can make a ranged spell attack, hurling a luminous arrow at one creature within 60 feet of you. You are the chalice, and then you whenever you cast a spell using a spell slot that restores hit points, you get bonus hit points restored. And then the dragon, which lets you make get a bonus on intelligence and wisdom checks.
Good Lord.
If you, for those of you that came along with us on Gaxpack, Abria played a Circle of the Stars druid.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just imagining this group is like, hey, we're going to go check out the laser show at the observatory, and the druid's like, no need.
I do like that starry form, when you get to 14th level, you become partially incorporeal, and you get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. That's cool. You're made of stars.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But remember when I said that not everybody wild shapes into creatures? This is what I was talking about. That's or one of the primary examples of what I was talking about. A wildfire druid works similarly, where you turn into a thing, but that thing is not an aminal.
Yep. Yeah, I think the wildfire druid, if I remember playing it recently, you can summon a fire elemental using your wild shape.
You got a fire spirit.
You don't turn into the fire spirit? I'm disappointed.
Well,
it's just with you doing things.
I had my old elven druid summon a bunny fire spirit, so
so you can still wild shape. It's you as an action, you can expend a use of wild shape to do this thing.
Yeah, but you don't get to turn into a fire spirit. That's my That's my complaint.
Well, only a Circle of the Moon can. Circle of the Moon druid at 17, I think, can turn into elementals, and they can turn into
10th level. It's at 10th level you can do that.
Oh, it's 10th level. Really? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it costs 2 uses of wild shape to do that.
Nope.
But that's kind of cool.
You
pretty
need
cool.
you need a wildfire druid and a moon druid to just be friends, and then you turn into a fire elemental, and they summon their elemental, and then they also can cast summon elemental, and then everybody's got just an elemental screw.
You have like an elemental posse.
Mhm.
And
If you
it's
get one of each, if you get one of each, you could have like a little Captain Planet kind of thing going on.
yes. And it's also extra cool though because the elemental you can change into is the large form of elementals, not the medium size. So
Yep.
you get to be a big old beefy wind boy.
He's a big old rocket boy. Crunk. Yeah. Mhm.
I think probably for a lot of Isle Champions players, the names that they're going to be familiar with the most is Circle of the Moon and Circle of the Land, because that's what Tyrell is, and his specialization are the circles.
Mhm.
So
Penelope Half Pint, Circle of the Moon.
oh, is she? Oh, very cool.
Circle of the Moon.
Is there anything cool and standoutish about a Circle of the Land? I know we just said Moon can do elements. But what the heck is 1,000 forms? Oh, you can just cast Alter Self at will. Okay, cool. Circle of the Moon is not what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like I do what I want. Yeah. So for Circle of the Land, you pick an area: Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grassland, mountain, swamp, or Underdark, and that's the kind of land you're attuned to, and that affects the bonus spells that you get. You can do things like basically the OG Longstrider, where you can just like move through stuff. You know, you have no difficult terrain, at least in the area that you're attuned to. You can't be charmed or frightened by elementals. I don't know how often that comes up, but you know, once again, DMs, it's up to you. If they're immune to being charmed or frightened by elementals, that needs to come up as a risk at least once, so that they can be like, yeah.
It's very satisfying when you do that.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you for noting that, because I think that's something that a lot of DMs do
I
sometimes.
definitely have the DM that's like, oh, you have a solution for this? Then it's never coming up
Yeah,
again.
yeah, don't
Right.
don't do that. Let your players be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah. Let them
remember
have a
spending
moment.
a long time getting an old character to learn Abyssal because we kept running into Abyssal and not being able to read it. And then after that, we never saw Abyssal again. It's like, come on.
It's a completely different context, but I was actually playing Starfinder, and Jim Jam was the storyteller. Shout out to Jim Jam. I was playing this race, and they're a 4-arm race, and one of the things they can do is they can absorb magic missiles and turn it into energy, right? And he made a point to have someone shoot a magic missile at me for me to be like, bah!
Yeah.
And I'm like, but if you think about it, in the world, literally everyone would know that. You know,
Yeah.
everyone would be like, don't shoot this at the 4-arm dude. So I actually get why you wouldn't, but I appreciate that I got a chance to make a use of my thing. So yeah, always give your players a chance to shine.
Yeah.
And then 14th level, Circle of the Land, they kind of have like this like bizarre version of like calm emotions, where like animals and natural creatures, like beasts or plants, just kind of, it's harder for them to attack you. They have to make a save, and if they don't make the save, they just sort of can't attack you. I was like, I feel like that'd be better if you just like mellowed everybody out. You just like, everybody be cool. But
Can be like Fonzie.
exactly, calm emotions.
Scratch the animal behind the ear in the right
give
right
the
spot.
That's it. That's all. Maybe that's all they wanted. Has anybody checked? You know what I mean? I bring this up every time. Maybe all them want is some scritches. He's not a bad dragon. He's just an itchy dragon. He just wants some scritches. I remember when we were shooting one of the Magic the Gathering spots, they showed me some horrible monster, and I'm like, he just needs scritches. And the designer was like, I don't think so. And I was like, has anybody tried? She's like, I don't recommend it. And I made it. And I'm like, but has anybody tried? Okay. So, yeah, that's mostly Circle of the Land, more or less, high level. And when Circle of the Shepherd, it's the, so this is where it gets weird, because Circle of the Shepherds is like the spirits of the land and spirits of creatures and spirits of things, you know? which is weird. Like it's like not full blown necromancy because they're still alive. You know, but you
It feels like it's not necromancy on a technicality.
right? It's
Little
proto
bit.
necromancy. It's proto necromancy. Like I'm gonna talk to your spirit while it's still in you. You know, yeah. And they. I was about to say they seem more pacifistic, but the land actually has a lot of pacifistic stuff. But because of your connection with the spirits of the creatures, you can like you have totems that are not so dissimilar to the barbarian totems, where you can like you can have a bear spirit or a hawk spirit or a unicorn spirit. Unicorn spirit.
Unicorn.
Which gives protection to all your allies nearby. Oh, I was making fun of turning into a pony for the stars, but you get to have a unicorn spirit. Then you can summon stronger things, so where like the Circle of the Moon can turn into stronger creatures. Circle of the Shepherd can summon stronger creatures with when you use your summoning magic. There's more hit points and do more damage and things. You can summon stronger beasts. So basically it is Circle of the Moon, but for summoning. That's what the Shepherd is. Yeah. And then every level you get to do stronger and stronger things and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I don't know that I've seen anybody play one of those. Which means now I might have to, just out of spite. This is a challenge.
I was looking through more of the Circle of the Moon as you were talking, and how it's just like if you want a wild shape, you will do some wild shaping and beat face with this. Like this is ridiculous. And then I sat here and went, I bet I know something before I check it. And I went and checked. Yep, my new player that's a druid is a 13th level Circle of the Moon druid. That's gonna be fun.
I mean, it's they can get out of hand, but I'm telling you, dear friends, you put 3 levels of Bear Totem Barbarian, just slap it on there. And then you reckless attack too. You're like, I'm a bear that can't get killed, and I'm gonna reckless attack. And if you kill that bear, I'm just gonna turn back into an elf and then into a bear. And then I'm gonna reckless attack. So yeah.
I just imagine this giant bear shrinks into the person and goes, guess what? Still mad.
And they look down at their hands for a second, and they're a halfling again, and they're like, why I oughta. They're back all over you again. You wear them down. It's attrition.
Why I gotta. Okay. We do have a few questions from chat, but any other things that you guys wanted to talk about with druids before we check in with them?
They used to be an absolute joke. Then they became game-breaking gods. Now they're just a lot of fun.
It feels like the deep history of a fantasy novel. Once we were ridiculous, then we crushed worlds. Now we're just trying to live in the moment.
Love it.
You know, there's also completely unrelated, and I'm not going to back it up in any way whatsoever. The only spells you ever actually see Gandalf cast are all druid spells.
Yup.
Do with that what you will.
I do want to point out, ye old dice goblins comment in chat, Circle of the Shepherd equal bring your own minis.
But then they become bring your own maxis. Yeah, exactly. But yes.
Okay, let's see what chat's been up to. First off with Stabagale the Kobold, question. So, why do druids have their own secret language?
So they can talk about everybody else behind their back.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah, they're like, girl. Yeah.
They're like, did you see Matthew's garden? Trash.
Similar to Thieves' Cant, although Thieves' Cant is to do crime, Druidic is to throw shade. Yeah.
That's my best guess, because it is a little bit what I guess there is something sort of ritualized about the way that druids interact, and so it could be that this is like kind of like a liturgical language that they've repurposed to, I really firmly believe in my heart, talk trash about non-druids.
That's the canon I'm going for.
Yeah, druids are catty.
You got it literally. Literally.
God damn.
So when you look at that cat that is judging you, it's actually judging you, and then gonna go tell other. And I think also on a meta level, it's another nod to the fact that the actual Druids, the actual Celts, we know so little about what they actually did, and so much of their stuff is unknown. So it's like, well, they just had a language we didn't know. There you go, it's Druidic.
Someone said Druidic language grows shade like a tree.
Thank you for your service.
Let's see. J Unyielding question: could we see Tasha as a future episode topic, possibly paired with another character, like how you did L'Oreal and Elminster? Could be a fun one.
I'm like, Tasha's been like 5 characters, so. Yeah.
It's true. We will do it's all Tasha episode.
Oops, all Tasha.
Oops, all Tasha. Oh, I love that one. Yes, yeah. So yeah, we could definitely give that a shot at some point. There may be things happening, in a certain campaign that have relevance to that. So we'll see what happens. What?
Certain campaigns, certain characters. What?
So weird.
What?
The lurking writer is Tyrell, not Egon Spengler, and you know what? Now I can't unsee that.
New skin.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to talk to the art department after this episode.
I feel like I can hear people going, the licensing from here.
No, legally distinct.
Legally distinct. It's the real Egon Spengler.
Yeah. No, you just put him in tan overalls with a backpack, and if his moonbeam happens to change from that white blue to like yellow and red, things happen. Things happen.
Who can say? Whatever.
Yeah. God dang it. I should have known that there were going to be a bunch of these Cassius 335 questions. So is Peter Venkman a bard, rogue, or both?
Ooh.
Oh God, what would Pete Venkman's class be?
So okay, hang on. We got to grade this on a curve though, because are we giving them the current classes, or are we giving them the classes as would have been at the time?
I think we should do current. classes.
Then Venkman is both. He's a bard rogue.
He's bard rogue. Yeah, I
Sneaky and everybody look at me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm down for that. That seems appropriate. God, I used to have. Since I reorganized my room, I don't have my ridiculous toys in reach. I had a really cool Pete Venkman toy at one point. Lurking Writer says, question, what role do deities play in the magic of druids? None, some, or lots? Are there any particular gods, godlike things that aid druids or look favorably upon them?
There are gods that look favorably upon them. It's hard to be in the Forgotten Realms and be like, meh, gods. They're just everywhere, right? But it isn't clear that their magic, I don't think their magic comes from gods. I think it comes from their interactions with nature. So they're separated. But some of the gods that druids frequently like, Auril, who's the goddess of winter, great for an Arctic Circle of the Land druid. Shantea, who's the goddess of like harvest and bounty. Eldath, who's a god of like quiet places and waterfalls. Malar, the beast lord, whose worshippers we have discussed previously as having some interesting decisions about how best to do that. Mieliki, who is like a unicorn goddess. Sylvanas, who is a god of wild places. Talos, who's a storm god. And Umberly, who is the goddess of the cruel and treacherous sea.
That you're like, please don't hurt me. Did you get Selune in there, by the way?
Selune was on not on this list, but I think Selune makes a lot of sense, especially for the Circle of the Moon.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets wonky. There's nature domain clerics that worship nature.
Wait, what? Is there really?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So it gets wonky. I love the idea you could have an atheist druid, though. Oh, you really could.
But no, I like the idea though of a cleric, a nature cleric. The druid shows up. The druid's just like, I love nature so much, and they're like, but do you though? Like I think I might love it more.
I mean, me being me, and I can by no means guarantee that this would be a functional build, but you could be a nature cleric and a druid, and you're like, I love nature.
I love nature.
I was gonna say you should be like a tabaxi, but actually you should be like the most vanilla dwarf ever. That was a nature druid slash or a nature cleric slash druid. Yep.
Yeah, I'm now looking at the nature domain. That would be a lot of fun to do. Because isn't druids also off of wisdom?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you could do a great build with this.
Yeah. I don't know how it would sync up with like getting the right spells and abilities and whatnot, but you could do it. Let me rephrase. You can do any of these. There's many that you just should not. This might actually surprise you how well it worked.
Yeah.
I shall do some theory crafting.
Ooh. Let's see. Banana Mobster says, question, do tabaxi... Oh yeah, Banana Mobsters is fantastic. Did the little fan art thing of me with my lightsaber, and I was thank you, Banana Mobster, you're the best. Question: do Tabaxi or Leonin druids wild shape into cats, or do they find it weird? That's kind of like the Aarakocra with the sparrow.
Yeah. That I don't know.
Yeah,
or
that'd
like
be interesting.
A person turning into a monkey, maybe. I don't know. I like it both ways. Or Tabaxi, you're like, no, that's bizarre. Or also just doing it, and people are like, is that weird? The Tabaxi's like, why would it be weird? I'm not a cat.
Exactly. And then don't break eye contact. I said, why would it be weird? Yeah.
I like the idea that the Tabaxi is like, no, I don't wild shape into cats anymore. Well, yeah, why is that? Because in that form, I can't stop the urge of cleaning myself, and it hangs on after I change back.
I was thinking about a Tabaxi that just felt really dirty every time it wild shaped into a wolf. Yeah.
Cassius335 question: Freely does not have slow aging, correct? Is that
no?
No,
no. He fully expects to die. Yeah,
he's burning the candle on all the ends.
He is. Technically, Penelope does. Technically, she should outlive him by a wide margin because she's a level 20 druid, so her aging is slowed. Yeah, no, but he's just out there full contact living, friend.
Let's see. The Lurking Rider question. This is in reference to Captain Planet. Heart elementals win. You can also do the fire ones because you got heartburn. Ryan Hayden has the last question. Is there any way in D&D to turn into a gummy bear?
Are we talking about the cartoon, or are we talking about the actual candy?
Oh yeah, there was a gummy bear show.
The bouncy bears.
See, I want to do a Care Bear Circle of the Moon.
You want to know exactly where my mind went? And this means absolutely nothing for content that may be coming down the pipeline. If you have both the hand and eye of Vecna, you can make a touch attack and turn a creature's bones into jelly and reduce them to 0 hit points. And I'm like, that's how you end up as a gummy bear. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, well that's all the questions that we got. Thank you, chat, so much. But I think that's a good place to wrap this up since we've got a full day of content ahead of us. So friends, where can people find you and what awesome things you're working on?
You can find me on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. You can listen to my podcast, our podcast. The three of us do a podcast called Writing About Dragons and Shit on Spotify or wherever you like to download your podcasts. You can join me on twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers every Monday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific for Concentration Check, a co-writing show. You come and get some work done with me. And then again on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. for Dungeon Scrawlers, an actual play show with a bunch of fantasy writers. We're back in Candlekeep this week.
I mean, where can't you find me? But this week, tomorrow, Stranger Things, D&D can be a lot of fun. Tonight, Legends of the Multiverse, Travis McElroy and DJ Knight going to be on there with us at 5 Pacific on D&D, Twitch, and YouTube. Normally, tomorrow's the Black Dice Society, but we are dark tomorrow because everybody's traveling and con season is kicking back in. Just follow me on the Tweetagrams at BDaveWalters, and you'll know where I am and what I'm doing.
You can follow me on. I can't speak today. It's a day. You can follow me on Twitter at the Treavor. There is an A hiding in there, and you can find me anywhere the Al Champions community is, because I'm the community manager, and that's where I will be. Thank you so much to Martin for moderating in the chat today and doing a fantastic job, and thank you to Codename Entertainment for giving us a chance to have some fun, talk about some D&D. Like I said, we've got a lot of stuff going on today. It's a full day of streaming, and we are tying it off at the end 3 p.m. with a charity game run by Lauren Urban to celebrate the release of Amani the Songbird.
Hey, I know her.
Yeah. So that starts at 3 p.m. with a fantastic cast. So please come check that out. And we will be around all day with shows. So stay right there. But that is going to do it for this week's episode. So until next week, Champions out.